Hello, I hope this is working. Can I get any sort of confirmation? Hopefully this is better. It says there are 0 people watching, so I don't think anyone's gonna give me that confirmation. I'm just gonna start stretching and maybe someone will watch. Oh yeah, I already did that. Okay, it says there are 2 people. I will do stuff for 2 people. I forgot what stretch I was doing, and I actually don't know when it got cut off. So we'll go from pike. Rolling with the punches. All right, let's see. Oh, good. A second yay. I'll take that. Let's go ahead and pull that leg up to the chest. I'm gonna have to move all of the balance beams over here, so just bear with me for that in a little bit, but we can stretch. Let's roll the other ankle and pull that leg up to your chest. Okay, and wrists. So pinkies together, and go ahead and lean back. Make sure you feel that stretch in your forearms here. Okay, fingertips out, rock side to side slowly. And flip your hands upside down. And roll your wrists. And let's shake it up. Let's lunge on one leg for splits. Oh, what does that mean? What does oops mean? If this is not working, then I'm gonna reschedule. Okay, press your front leg straight, nose turning. You know what I might do is some videos that aren't live too. That'd be good. Oh, it is working. That's good. Slide it out. I take everything back. Okay. Thank you guys for bearing with me. I obviously didn't do the other one here. I did it at my home, but hopefully some people will still be able to see this and we'll get a good beam work out of it. Let's lunge on the other leg. And press your front leg straight, nose turning. Definitely feel free to share the new link that works with anyone who you know planned on tuning in, because I just very quickly put it in the Facebook post. All right, and let's go ahead and sumo. As I fall over, I can never keep my balance on this one. All right, slide your heels out. Okay, and let's shake it off. And we'll get ready for some bridges. I'm gonna do the seal stretch to prep for that. I think this is a nice kind of beginning stretch before you go into the full bridge. So heels together, and you can start to tilt your head up. And let's roll to one side. And mermaid stretch as well. I like to add this one in. I don't always do this stretch, but it always feels good. And let's switch other side. Mermaid the other direction. Okay, I'm gonna attempt to do some bridges now. Brace yourselves. Let's try, I think we did our lifts last time. So let's try to start picking up our hands. So we're gonna rock, and as we rock, we're gonna try to lift the palms off of the mat. Lift, lift. And we're gonna rock and roll to stretch out the back the other direction. Okay, and I think next we'll do one more bridge, and this time let's do a leg lift where we hold. So let's hold that for 5 seconds on each side. Rock it out. Okay, and as I said before, in the last one of these, if you were there, we would normally do back bend pull-ups here. I will let you do those back bend pull-ups, but I'm gonna skip demonstrating those today. And since we talked a little bit about them last time, I think I'll just get right into beam stuff if that works for you guys. Let me kind of look and make sure this is still okay. Oh, good. There are more people watching. That's nice. I'm gonna go get the beam now. This is what you wanted to watch, right? Okay. Now I'm too exhausted to do stuff on it, but it's fine. Can you see me? I tested the other. Yeah, that's decent. We can work with that. Okay, so my plan was to look at some acro elements as well as some dance elements for multiple levels. And I planned on doing kind of lower level first and then higher level next. So I think I'll stick to that. I'm going to grab the other beam for some forward rolls to start. This is a great thing to practice even if you don't have a beam, just practicing it the way we would do it on beam because it's a little bit different from how we do it on floor. Getting my cardio in here, moving all this equipment for the second time today. So I'm going to start on this wider beam because it is very difficult, especially if you are an adult size like me, to do this on the skinny mini beam. So there are lots of things that make a successful roll on beam. And the first thing is to start with your hips sitting on your feet. Normally on floor, we would start this like this, up on your tippy toes. But we're doing it differently for balance beam. Toes tucked under, hips sitting back. And when you place your hands on the beam, you want wrists together, like butterfly hands, okay, and your fingers wrap around the sides of the beam. If you're doing this on floor, then you can just kind of keep your hands flat and imagine that there's a beam there. Make sure too that your hands are close to you. Reaching them way out here creates more work. You have to roll further. So keep it close and it will be a lot easier for you. So with hands close, I put my head right here in between my thumbs. When I do this, my head should be tucked out of the way, chin to my chest, looking at my belly button. That way my head is out of the way and I can roll to my shoulders here. We don't want to do a headstand on the beam because most of the time that ends in a flat back. So head nice and close. You're also going to try to drag your toes along the balance beam as you roll. That way we avoid the dreaded flop. And there we have it. Okay, you'll notice too that I held on to the beam for quite a while, even after my feet landed. And that's totally not cheating. It's just keeping yourself balanced. So I say hold on as long as you need to. Make sure that your feet are on track to actually be able to stand up out of the skill and use that to keep yourself balanced. I'll show maybe one more of these and we'll move on to some other drills. Scoot back, I'm running out of balance beam. So again, watch those toes, make sure that you touch the beam with your toes as long as you can. The alternative is something that looks like this. Obviously that's not going to feel great on a beam, so that's why we want to avoid it. This way now. So hands close, chin tucked, drag those toes. Ooh, a bit better. I was able to keep my feet together and get my weight more on top of the landing instead of falling back more like I did on the other try. Awesome. So the next acro element would be our T-scales. We did some T-scales last week just for floor for our handstands. So it's really the same idea here. It's called a T-scale because your body makes the letter T. I'll try to freeze frame and show it here. So right here, we make a T. That wasn't the perfect T, but you get the idea. So you hit that position on your way down. The point is we're avoiding this. This is a broken T. All right, we want to try to stay straight from the hand to that back foot. So you're like a lever, okay? I'm already falling off of my low beam. How embarrassing. So let's try to do 5 of those T scales. And if you can start to get your hands down, that's great. It's the same hand placement as we used for our forward roll. It's wrists together, palms on top of the beam, fingers wrap around the sides. Oh, my brain went into autopilot and we got a bonus handstand. I'm skipping ahead. Back to T scales. There's. Make sure you're trying to keep that back foot pointed. Ooh, got a little wobbly on that one. There we have it. Okay, those T scales get you comfortable lifting that foot up and starting to be upside down without really having to trust yourself to lift both feet off of the beam. Once you get comfortable with that, then it's the same progression as we did for floor. You're starting to leave the ground with that second foot. Okay, so I just kind of hold that balance. I still have this foot close, ready to catch me, so it's very comfortable compared to doing the full skill. Let's do 4 more of this. Just that balance. Ooh, that one wasn't quite as far, maybe. Whoop, that one was too far. Where's the happy medium? It's never when you need it. I've also lost count. Whew. All right, I'm going to do one more. T scales are pretty wiggly today. There we go. Okay, so as you get comfortable, then you could start kicking up to a full handstand, which is getting a little bit more advanced and we don't need to get into right now. The other skill that I wanted to give some tips on, and is a great thing for you to practice at home with or without a beam, is cartwheels. So if you can do your cartwheel on the floor, then you should be practicing it on a straight line so that you're really seeing that you're ready to move it to beam soon. I'm going to scoot this over a little bit. Okay, and we can practice on this nice line here. So when you're doing a cartwheel on beam versus floor, really the main difference that we can use to make it fit on beam a little bit better is what we call the cheater hand. And this just means we're taking that second hand and turning it in so that when you complete the skill, that hand is already straightened out in front and it's easier to kind of square up your hips and shoulders for your landing. So if you are a lefty like me, then your left hand will be like a normal cartwheel hand, and your right hand, instead of being like a normal cartwheel hand, will keep going even further and turn in. So it's middle finger to thumb here. And that means that when I've turned and I'm completing it, this hand is already nice and straight. And it applies the same way for righties, just opposite. So my right hand turns like I normally would. My left hand turns further. So it's more middle finger to thumb. And then it's nice and square for my finish. Okay, so we're going to try this hand turn technique. And this is one of those things that you can use if it helps you. And if it doesn't, then you can forget about it. But it's just a nice thing to help us square up our landings if it works well for you. So let's try 5 cartwheels. Play around with the hand placement, see what works best for you. And if you can do this on a line, awesome. Even if that's a piece of tape on your carpet, whatever it may be. Some of you guys have practice beams at home. That's great too. Whatever you have, let's work with it. Ooh, sorry, not going well. I almost think sometimes it's easier to not have something so wide. Sometimes I'll have someone practicing something on the wide beam, try it on a skinnier beam, and it goes better. So maybe I should hop up here soon. There we go. Second time's the charm. Make sure on these that as you're looking for your landing, your head is here, head between the arms as you reach. I see that a lot, and that throws off your balance, and then you're probably not going to land it in the center. Ooh, if it weren't for that last foot, that would have been a pretty solid one. Maybe one more. I lost count. Ooh. I think that hand turn is helping me, so be interested to see who likes it versus who doesn't. So that's kind of what I had planned for our lower level acro elements for balance beam today. For our dance elements, I thought it'd be nice to try some releve turns and just kind of practice some basic balance and positions for beam. I think for those, I'm going to hop up onto my skinnier beam. This is somewhere you want to be able to turn. So if you're on a mat that is difficult to turn on your tippy toes, then you might consider going to carpet or somewhere that you're able to turn for this. So we're starting with our cartwheel foot in front, and we're going to practice lifting up to our tippy toes. Okay, my feet are close together, so my big toe kind of touches my heel here. Any further is probably too far, and a little bit closer could be okay as long as you don't step on your own toes. So we're practicing this lift up onto our tippy toes. This is called a releve. Releve means to rise. So we're rising up higher, making ourselves taller. Okay. One thing that you should be very careful of, especially with our theme today of ankle strengthening, when you are doing your releve, it's important that you keep your ankles aligned with your toes and with your knees. Everything should come straight up. What we don't want to see is this turn out to injury, more likely to get hurt, which we don't want. So we want to make sure we keep that straight. Always check that. Even if you've been a gymnast for years, this might be like, which means that I'm going to turn right for this releve turn. If you're a lefty, turn, oh, I just said that one. If you're a righty, turn left. Okay, and we can go back and forth, releve, turn, all right? You'll know that you're turning the wrong direction if you try to go and you get stuck because your legs won't let you move. That means you're making it more difficult than you need it to be. So let's do a couple more of these turns. Spot the end of your balance beam with your eyes. I find that helps me keep my balance so I'm not wobbling all over. And let's even add a little step to our sequence. So we're going to releve up, turn, step, turn. Ooh, I got my toes off the edge on that one. Let's try that one again. Releve up, turn, step, turn. Oh, that second one, my gymnasts call this balance beam Skinny Jeff. I call it Skinny Mini because I appreciate the rhyme, but you can call it whatever you want. It is the skinny beam though. Okay, so we've done our releve turns. I thought it'd be nice also to practice some scales or arabesques. That's the same thing. You can call it either one, and it's correct. We're starting with our cartwheel foot in front so that you're balancing on your base leg, your cartwheel leg that is stronger. And we're going to shift our weight onto that foot. That means that I'm balancing here on this good leg. My back leg is just touching, but I'm not keeping any weight there. And starting with arms up, I'm going to press them out to the sides as I lift my heel. And we're trying to keep the chest up as the heel lifts for this. And we can finish by swinging that foot through in front. Okay, so we don't want to drop the chest super, super low on these. As you lift that heel up, your chest will eventually have to come down a bit. You just don't want to be hunched over on these. So let's try 4 more of these. Hold them for as long as you can each time. Just 2. Ooh, this one's out of control. As I plow into the camera over here. Oh man. I couldn't do 3 good ones in a row. That was the problem. Those first 2 were too good. Had to do a wonky one. floor. We'll do one more. All right, nice. Those are great to practice even on floor, just to work on your balance and your flexibility. And I think it just is a pretty element that you could use in a floor routine, a dance routine. And it, like I said, helps your flexibility for things like needle scale rolls, which are really pretty rolls. And it's just a nice thing to have. So for other dance elements, I want to try also some jumps, which is kind of a dance thing, kind of not. But I think these are great to practice on beam for building up confidence, because we tend to be a little nervous on high beam. This is a good way to get comfortable leaving the beam with your feet, even if just a little bit at a time. So for this one, we want to start with our feet. How close can I get here? With your feet close together and your cartwheel foot slightly in front. Your feet will tuck in next to each other so that your toes are kind of in the arch of your cartwheel foot. Okay, and this just gives us a little bit more space on the beam. It kind of makes your feet smaller when they're next to each other so that it's easier to land on the beam. So toes tucked into that arch. We're going to do 3 straight jumps. We start with arms in 5th position. 5th is up here, remember, and 1st is down here. I always remember that 1 or 1st is lower than 5 or 5th. 5th is a higher number, or 5 is a higher number, and 5th is a higher position with our arms. So arms in 5th, feet together. We're going to bend down to prep and lift up to jump. Okay, and again, I like to keep my eyes on the end of the balance beam. That helps kind of keep me balanced. You can look out in front of you as well, as long as you're looking at something that's not moving. I tend to go for the end of the beam now. I just tried looking in front. My eyes didn't let myself back jump. Okay, this becomes a little bit trickier, but if you're on the floor and not on the balance beam, then this should be pretty easy for everyone to try. So if you're not comfortable on your beam, then you can try on the floor. We're going to lift both knees up in a tuck to the chest. Woo. There, the rest of your skills as well. I think maybe I had one more thing. Checking my list, I had this all planned out. Passe lifts was the only thing that I haven't gone over yet before conditioning. So we will look at these passe lifts. I was about to ask what a passe was, and then I remember that you can't really say it. So I guess you could type it if you know what a passe is, but I won't make you do that. Passe just means toe to knee here. Hopefully you can see me. I need like bright colored pants, I've heard. That was my feedback from the last one, was I blend into my surroundings. I need to get some neon pants for these. But toe to knee, you can tuck that toe next to your kneecap, and that will kind of lock it into place, and this is our passe. I like doing the passe combined with the releve, so passe, but on your tippy toes, because this helps prep us for pirouettes or turns on beam. So starting with your cartwheel foot in front, I want us to practice starting in this lunge here and lifting up to a passe in releve, which just means toe to knee and tippy toes. Okay, so starting with my heel flat in my lunge, like here, lift up. I'm just lifting my arms to 5th. You could also practice lifting to 1st. I kind of like the lift that 5th gives me, but some people like that your center of gravity is a little bit lower with 1st position. So try both and see what you like. And let's practice 5 of these passe lifts. We'll do 5 more. Up. And we can step it back. It might actually to practice this at the end with the step in front, because that's how we finish our pirouette. So let's see if we can try some of those. So we passe up, step in front. So that means you should be finishing with your opposite foot in front. And that goes for your pirouettes as well. I have so many girls who say, I got my half pirouette or my full pirouette, but they've stepped behind and finished with their cartwheel foot in front. So we want to make sure that we finish our turns with our opposite foot in front. So that's why we want to practice it that way in our little passe lifts here. Up, step in front. Up, step in front. Okay, and remember for our releve, we're checking this ankle. We're making sure that it's straight. Ooh, falling off my beam. and making sure that that ankle does not turn out to the side. Make sure you can still be seen. Okay, and if you are more advanced and you're watching this part, feel free to try some pirouettes as well. But if you're not ready for that turn yet, then you can keep practicing just this passe lift. If you feel like you have it, then you could also just start trying that half pirouette. Show one of those. So we're pushing into the turn. Lefties turn left, righties turn right. So you're turning towards your cartwheel leg. And again, finishing with that opposite foot in front. And that applies to the half pirouette, full pirouette, 1.5, quadruple, doesn't matter, opposite foot in front to end. It's kind of a pirouette day. I have good pirouette days and then not so good pirouette days. Okay, let's try one more little half pirouette if you're working those, or the passe lift. Ooh, that was a slow motion one. I had to crank that around that last quarter. Okay. That is what I have for advanced beginner through intermediate balance beam. I'm going to be doing intermediate through advanced next, but first ankle conditioning. So this is where I mentioned before, oh, it's all the way over there. So if you have a therapy band, then you can use that for some of these, but it's not required for all of them. So I'll show some different ones. I'm going to just go ahead and, I guess, move this one. I had my setup over there and then I moved. Okay, now quick cardio workout to go get my TheraBand. I shouldn't joke around doing stuff like that because I'm going to get so tired. I'm already tired. Okay, I don't even want this for this first one. This first one doesn't look difficult. It just is kind of a brain puzzle. If you haven't done it before, I'm going to show from the side for this. So normally when we point our feet, we're curling our toes. And when we flex our feet, our toes pull back. This exercise to build strength around our ankles and protect our ankles from sprains and other injuries is like the opposite of that. So you're going to flex and curl your toes, and then you're going to point and raise your toes. And it feels really weird. But after you've done it a while, it's not so bad. It's not really physically difficult. It's just kind of confusing. So curl and flex, point and raise. And we're going to do that 15 times. And try to go slow and make sure that you're pressing. You should be using your leg muscles to really squeeze on that point and lift. So it's not just like moving your feet around. Try to engage your leg muscles. You kind of have to really do it right. You can feel it when I point my quads. I have no idea what time it is, but I'm just kind of going with the flow at this point since we're off to a weird start. But after these ankle exercises, I'm going to get back into the more advanced stuff. And I'm debating on whether or not I should stretch again. So if you want to comment, then let me know. If you're planning on staying for the next one, then let me know if I should go through our stretching warm-up or if I should get right to the good stuff. Challenging, because this is to make it a little bit more advanced. Then you can start doing some with your arms. I was laughing. And reach them up and back. Ooh, see, it gets a little bit trickier. And to the side. And to the other side. I'm doing surprisingly well. I feel like normally I would fall over the first time I made anything. It's spoken too soon. And arms up. And let's switch feet. Arms back. Do a dance. I don't know. Should just do some weaving, some interpretive dance during this. Arms to the side, arms up, arms back, and relax. Okay, I think that one is good if you have something squishy to stand on. Otherwise, it's pretty easy on a hard floor, so I would see what you can do to make that more challenging, because I think it's a great idea to be training away from that motion. So whatever you can do to make that work for you is going to help strengthen and protect the ankles. I don't want to see any more ankle injuries do these exercises and get invincible ankles. That's what I want. Okay, so the next one is this toe tap, which I call like the Dance Revolution one, because I feel like I'm dancing. You're balancing on one foot again, but you're going to be tapping your foot out. So it's kind of like wild foot motion now instead of wild arms. And let's do front, side, and back, and we'll do that on both feet. So for the first leg, make sure that the leg you balance on has a little bit of bend in the knee, but make sure that your knee doesn't hang forward over your toes. Keep that knee above your foot. Okay, and you can have arms out to balance whatever you want to do with your arms. We're tapping in front, tap to the side. Actually, I think let's come back to the side, back, and then tap behind you. And we're going to do 5 sets on that one. Front, side, back. This one definitely you'll feel in your quad muscles. If not now, then tomorrow. Bonus if you do weird arms with this one in addition to the weird legs. Then it's just like dancing starfish. Ooh. I think I have one more set. I'm so bad at counting. I always get distracted. Okay, so switching feet, same idea, making sure we have a little bit of bend in that base leg, but not so much that it hangs over the toes. Front, side, and back. Make sure you're not rushing too much through these. It's easy to want to go fast and get it over with, but make sure that you're getting the benefit out of doing them. I forgot. I think I had one more. We'll see. Maybe my arm's tired to hold them out like that. Maybe that's the real exercise. Just holding the arm raises. It works your calf muscles. The basic one is just releve up and back down. And this is one where if you have a balance beam at home, awesome, use it. You can let your heels hang off the beam and releve up and back down. And that's great. Another way to make this more challenging would be to add weight. You can hold on to something if you have hand weights. But you can also do it balancing on one foot. So you can start with both feet and then releve up, shift the weight, and then bring that heel back down flat. So this one is one where you really have to go slow and take your time. You don't want to just go up and then slam that heel down. Try to control. Again, making sure our ankles stay in. Make sure that they're not turning out. So let's do, if you're doing regular calf raises, then you might be able to get more done. So maybe 15 of those, and let's try to do maybe 5 of these on each side if you're doing the 1 foot version. And the most advanced version of this, if you want even more of a challenge, is to just balance on 1 foot doing that heel raise. You could hold on to a wall or a couch or whatever works for you to kind of help make that one doable. But just start with what is comfortable, and then maybe next time you can do the next challenging one. I think that's 5. I'm gonna switch to the other foot. Elevate up. Ooh. Down. Like looking at my feet doesn't hold my balance. Ooh. It's hard to balance on these. I'm gonna try my last one on 1 foot. That was pretty good. Sometimes I lose control on that 1 foot one. It's harder than it looks. It doesn't look like you're doing anything until you try it. Okay, so our last ankle exercises are involving a band. If you have a family member present that can help you, then that can make this a little bit easier. They can hold on to it for you. But you'll loop it. You don't have to have it tied like this. You could just fold it in half this way. But either the loop or the fold goes around your foot. Okay, and if you're doing this by yourself, then you can see a little bit better that way. I like to wrap so that my foot is kind of holding it for my other foot. Okay, and we're gonna do out to the side. Okay, so I'm doing my left foot, so that means I'm turning it left from the ankle. And let's do 10 of those. You see that? It's not a lot of range of motion. I have a ton of range in, but not so much out. So don't be worried if you're not moving your foot very far. Just try to make sure you're getting that resistance. It shouldn't feel too easy. You should feel the band pulling against you. All you hear is like this squeaking. I think I tend to go kind of fast on these two, so you want to try to slow down. Okay, and I'm going to do the same foot all at once. So our next one, you really don't need a partner for because you're going to be pulling the band towards you. And make sure that you have it, if you're using a band, make sure that you have it decently wrapped around your foot, like covering a good portion of your foot so that it doesn't sling back and hit you in the eye. I'm not responsible for any slingshot related incidents. So you're pressing your foot forward. We're doing that 10 times. If it feels too easy, you could pull the band more, or there are different strengths of bands. So if you have more than one, then you could use a stronger one. Okay. I think I'm just going to do 2 of these. So we'll do the other foot now. Again, you're wrapping it around from that foot. You're pulling towards the other foot. So I'm doing my right foot now. I'm holding it with my left foot. And now I'm bringing this right foot out. Not losing your splits or anything like that. All right, so this cartwheel to handstand step-in is what it sounds like. You start as if you're doing a cartwheel. You stop at the top in a handstand, and then step your feet in between your hands. I'm going to stop this off just a bit. So I'm less likely to kick it. I guess I could step in this way too. Either way works. So our hands wrap around the side of the beam. Your fingers wrap the sides, your palms stay on top. We're stopping in this handstand and doing a bonus twist dismount. Okay, the key on these is finding that right handstand and balancing your weight. So if you have your snap down dismount and your twist off dismount from beam, where you're stopping in that handstand and landing on the ground, then you should kind of think about this like you're going to be doing the twist dismount, leaning that handstand kind of in the wrong way direction, what feels like the wrong way, because we need a little bit of weight on this side of the beam to be able to step in on the other side. We have to find that balance. I'm getting too much weight on this side of the beam, so I'm not able to step in. So I'm just tipping over. Whew, there we go. Finally got one. So keeping those shoulders strong and trying to line up on top of your wrists is important, but we're trying to start to bring those hips a little bit further over your hands so that you get that balance with your feet stepping in. I'll show some on both sides. I'm going this way now. So see if you can watch the shoulders and hips starting to come this way. If I can do it right. All right, so as I step in, I'm rounding out my back to be able to bring my feet in here. You can't do this with a flat back. You're not gonna keep the weight on top of the beam and keep that balance. So we wanna make sure that we stay rounded out. The guy's gonna kick that beam, but I'm probably nowhere close to it. All right, let's do one more of those step-ins. Here we go. Okay, these are a good thing you can just practice on a line at home. You don't have to have a beam to do these, But once you get the position right and you have your back rounded, then it's going to make a lot more sense. You're going to be able to step in a lot more easily. So our other acro that I wanted to talk about for beam would be the scissor cartwheel, because I feel like we just don't think of placement, as a reminder, is kind of this V shape with our hands. Jump. And it takes a little bit more practice than our straight jumps and tuck jumps and that kind of thing. Ooh, there we go. It's a little bit closer. I want to try the sauce from here and see if I can get a better cross in front. I feel like that gets a little bit better. And then we take it to skinny mini beam and it doesn't go quite the same, but it's still working okay. So some other intermediate to advanced, this is really more an intermediate element, is our sisson. So the sisson is basically just like a little tiny hop into a little tiny scale. So earlier we did scales and arabesques where we lifted that back heel up. The sisson starts kind of similar. We start with feet together and then we lift and kick that back leg back. And we do a little hop on our base leg. So your cartwheel leg just goes back and then it will swing in front. So let's do this first part. We're gonna bend, jump to our little scale, and then we swing it in front. That's our second part. So we want it to be smooth. I like to break it into two pieces to teach it. I think it makes it make more sense, but we do want it to be one fluid motion. We don't want it to be like a robot's doing one, but we do want it to be one fluid motion. We don't want it to be like a robot's doing one. So kick back, swing in front, okay? Make sure that your cartwheel leg is just going up and down and you're not traveling forward or back. I like to practice these on a line so that I'm making sure that my cartwheel foot stays in place and doesn't leave the line. And then I'm kicking back and swinging in front with my opposite foot. Okay, so adding the arms into this, the arms do kind of the opposite of what the legs are doing. So whichever leg is in front, the opposite arm will be in front. I'm a lefty, which means that I kick back my right leg, my opposite leg to start. So I'm going to be with my left foot in front. I'll lift my right arm in front. Okay, so it's opposite. I have opposite sides in front for arm and leg. So the other arm just extends out to the side. So I'm lifting up my opposite arm and swinging and switching through as I complete the sisson. So let's practice just the arms separate from the feet if you need to start. If you want to do the whole thing, great, but I think it's good to break it up to begin. So if you're a lefty in gymnastics, you're lifting your right arm up first, left arm to the side, and then switching and finishing with your left arm in front. If you are a righty in gymnastics, then you're lifting up that left arm first, left arm in front, down, and right arm in front to finish. That switch happens when that step in front happens. Okay, so let's look at the lefty version. Left foot just goes up and down, right leg kicks back, and I'm lifting up my right arm and extending out my left arm to the side. And then switch through. Okay, let's see that one more time, and I'll do right leg next. And switch. Okay, so for the right leg version, same idea. We're lifting up the left arm as the left leg kicks back, and the right arm, you can't see anymore, is out to the side. One more. Okay, so that's our sisson. So if you have a beam, then hop on it. But if you don't, then just keep practicing on a line. And let's try 3 on your cartwheel leg. 3 sissons. But I didn't. Sometimes I get confused when I go back and forth between good leg and bad leg teaching. Okay, that's it. So that is our sisson. The other nice kind of intermediate dance element that I teach a lot is the assemblée. The assemblée is very similar to, if not pretty much exactly the same as our arm circle for vault. So you can kind of imagine a springboard in front of you, and we're practicing that circle with our arms as we're jumping in the air. But the thing that really makes an assemblée is that high kick with our cartwheel foot. So for this dance element, we start with feet together, and you're going to step first with your opposite foot. Arms come out to prep. Okay, so opposite foot in front, and then this cartwheel leg is going to come through and do a nice high kick before both feet land together in our imaginary mud puddle. So we'll start with just the legs. So it's high kick, splash. Okay, and we bend those knees on the landing. Make sure we are keeping knees safe. So step with opposite, high kick, and splash. Okay, now all we have to do to make this a full assemblée is add the arms. The arms start by your sides and prep by coming back, and then you're going to circle them up and all the way through to finish in front in first position. Okay, so it's a fast circle with the arms. You want the arms to be in first when your feet hit the mat, and you don't want to land and then finish the arm circle instead. So the arms start back, they circle around and all the way in front. So again, practice it fast, arms back, circle, and in first position to finish. Okay, so you start feet together, arms in. Let's put the arms and legs together. So you're stepping, arms back, kick, circle, splash in your imaginary puddle. Let's do 3 on the ground. So 2 more, and then we'll try them on the beam if you have one. So step, kick, splash. Again, make sure you have that high kick. I see a lot of assemblées that have the right idea, but they're just not kicking very high, so they don't look as cool as when we kick higher. Right, so make that big, and we can take it to the beam. Take it onto the beam and right off of the beam. All right, so when we land, we're tucking those feet in with the cartwheel foot slightly in front. That way you're making your feet smaller to be able to fit on your beam. So it's step, kick, and splash. So it's kind of one foot in front of the other to get them to fit. Ooh, it's okay. Let's try to do 5 total. 2. One more good one. There we go. So that is the assemblée. If you're trying out for exhibition team, the sisson and the assemblée are both dance elements that we test on during tryouts. So it'd be good to watch this again and make sure that you've got it if you plan on trying out, because then you'll know exactly what to do. Other dance elements. What else is there? This is where I would take a water break if I had remembered a water bottle, but I did not. Oh, we were going to do leaps too. Whew. So my leaps are not amazing, but we can talk about the footing into them, and hopefully you can kind of get the right idea. I like to practice the 2 or kind of 1-step entry, where you start with, it's kind of 2 steps. So you would start with your cartwheel foot stepping, then your opposite foot, and then that prepares you to be able to leap on your cartwheel foot. So if you go good, bad, leap, I'm out of balance beam. Maybe I'll try on skinny mini. Okay, so I'm a lefty, so I step with my left foot first. And then I like to leap with my arms in opposite to my legs. So that means if I'm a lefty and I'm leaping with my left foot in front, then I have my right arm in front and my left arm to the side. If you get confused or you want a different option, arms in press also works. Press is like the Y in the YMCA. So they're just out, and make sure your hands are reaching up and not drooping like palm trees. You'll hear that at Bart Connor Camp. Some of you have gotten the palm tree talk before. Okay. So again, disclaimer, my leaps are not good, but I am practicing them, which is really the message here. So good, bad leap. Like I said, I'm not bragging about my leaps. The more you can start to lift that foot up in front, the better. The common mistake on these two is this back foot turning out. We call it like the club foot, where it's twisted out here. You're gonna keep that back leg straight, keep that foot straight and tucked under so that it's not out here. It's almost like the seesaw with the arms if you do opposition. I tend to switch through when I finish it. I don't know if that's the official arm placement, but it feels natural to me. Ooh. Maybe I can see about trying another one on this game. Sometimes you have to do it where it's easier just to get the idea. Except I don't have any room here. All right, get better height, that's for sure. I don't know about my split or on the lower beam, whatever works for you. I thought too hard and I forgot which foot to start with. Cartwheel foot. There we go. Okay. Helps to do it in the place you're most confident. So those are leaps, at least to start. If you have a bigger space to do these, then you can start adding more leaps to it and step out of it. So you could do good, bad leap, step leap. The other one that I wanted to talk about was pirouettes. And then I think, pirouettes and this kick turn that I quite like. What we want to do for this dance element, we want the leg to be kind of like a pendulum. You swing it up and it swings straight back in the other direction. And we're going to try to do the whole thing, maybe just once, maybe it's not a circuit, but we're going to try to do all of them. So do all 20 claps or high fives or imaginary front fives.